how we'll get into the industry, what exactly I would be doing as an agent, and how you can fast track your success. I'm going to be breaking down this video, a comment from one of our YouTube uh, subscribers and viewers on exactly kind of what my thoughts are on that process. So, as always, please make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. My name's Trey. I'm the owner of Agent Lead Lab. In the past 3.5 years, we've helped 550 plus agents issue pay $40,000 per month. And on this video, I just try to talk about strategies, tactics, and behaviors that you as an agent or an agency owner can implement to ensure that same success. And let's hop right into the video. Okay, cool. So I appreciate the gentleman. I don't know if he cares if I name drop him, so I'm not going to. But somebody asked me a question in the comments, and I think this is really cool because I feel like a lot of times when I watch YouTube, the people that I'm watching, they don't, I mean, they respond, I guess, to the comments, but they don't always drop the topics. I am doing this for you all as agents, genuinely. I try to get on here and share like what I'm seeing in my day to day, but also if you have comments, I know there was another comment about veterans. So if that gentleman's watching that too, I did not forget you. It's on my list. I will do that as well. But I wanted to pull this one up. So today the question was, can you make a video on how you would get into the insurance industry? What would you sell? How would you choose an IMO? What type of leads? And I just said your videos are really informative, and I just see how you would get into the industry. First of all, I really appreciate the gentleman who did this, so thank you very much. And I appreciate you for watching. I don't have a lot of subscribers, and not inherently really doing it for that. I'm just trying to find ways to provide you all with as much information as possible from a not only life insurance lead vendor, but a life insurance agent's perspective, because that's how I am. That's what I do. That's how my team focuses. That's how we operate. So that's what we try to embody. So first and foremost, let's talk about the first question is, how would I get into the insurance industry? So the way I look at that is this. Going back in time, if I was to get into it now, how I would do it is I would prioritize, let me bring this down to my back. I would prioritize skills. Okay. So what do I mean by that? I think that there are some skills that better suit life insurance agents than not. For example, previous solar experience, or any door-to-door experience. It's not that you can't get into life insurance as your first sales job, because you 100% can. But if you come in with other sales experience or sales exposure, or very uncomfortable situations on a day-to-day, which typically happens in like door-to-door, because it's you learn a lot in door-to-door. Like you always have to be thinking on your feet. You have to understand how to read clients. You have to really talk your way into opportunities, which is a blessing when you realize all the skills that you learn. And then you move into something like life insurance, because you can make significantly more money for the same amount of input, with a much greater output. So that's how I would get into the industry. I would also, and this ties into IMOs, and I'm going to kind of go around answering these questions, but I would also look for IMOs that have a blend. All right. Now there's a ton of great ones that I have that I work with, and I really do like them all for all the different reasons. But the first thing you need to realize is you need to write down why, or like, what are you trying to get out of this? Okay. I think that a lot of times what I see is that agents, or even agency owners or former business owners, there's a few different ways you can come into industry. So let me make it really simple. If you're an individual agent, meaning like you have no previous sales experience, but you want to get in because you see the money and you see the opportunity and you hear about it. Perfect. Let's say you have had no sales experience. That's fine. That's also very beneficial, because you're going to come in with a completely different perspective. You're not going to have any like previous sales experience. So there's no biases to like what you think works. And if you come in like, I'm a sponge, and you're willing to do whatever the person at the top who's doing the most is doing, like, you'll scale up the ladder really quick. The second person is somebody who's like, hey, I am, I have previous sales experience. Maybe I worked at a different insurance company, or I did like health, or car, and like whatever. It doesn't matter. You have some sort of other insurance experience where you learn some set of behaviors, and you're now moving over into life insurance or moving to a new IMO. So you're having to kind of break those behaviors, right? That's the second. And the third is you're a business owner, and you come in. And by the way, in that second column would also be like door to door, like you have some sort of previous sales experience. whether it's like a lot or a little, but you understand sales to a little bit. Then the first one's naked. They could have came in and they were like, I was at the grocery store, or I did cars, or like whatever, not selling cars, but like a mechanic. I apologize. The second category could be real estate, previous insurance experience, um, door to door, like they had sales experience. And the third one is more than likely a combo of the first two, just over a long period of time. This is now a business owner, right? So if you look at it, you've got no experience, you've got sales experience, and then you've got a business owner. They're all coming into the life insurance space for their own set of reasons. So to answer this first question, how I would enter the industry, I would first understand, where am I coming from? Because your perspective coming into the industry greatly determines your output, either leaving, meaning exiting, growing and failing, meaning like getting rolled up with chargebacks, or, kind of maintaining and staying here for the long haul. All three can happen. All three will happen. It just depends on in what order and how you view them. You're going to go through some sort of like chargeback issue. And by issue, I don't mean like you're going to go broke. I'm just saying you need to experience that. It's just like saying I'm going to ride a bike and never fall. It doesn't really make sense, right? So, because you have to experience it even just a little bit, like you have a leg that rolls you up 10,000. Cool, that's small. Or you could be somebody that had hundreds of $1,000s rolled up. Or either one, you still have to go through it. It feels strenuous because it's not always your fault. Personal chargebacks, 100% your fault, right? Like you're just like, why are you selling these type of people? You learn from that. And I feel like that's also part of the process, especially if you're going to go into trying to make a lot of money. You will go through those laws of like, man, maybe I learned how to sell more effectively, or I'm quoting people too high or whatever. You're going to figure out what is or isn't the best move. Sorry, y'all, my nose is scratching again, itching again. Is or isn't the best move for you. So that way you can, scale, grow, and kind of learn from your mistakes. The business owner entry is probably the most intriguing because if you're entering the industry and you have a business, so let's say you're an entrepreneur or you are, as an entrepreneur, I guess that was kind of dumb now thinking about it. Or maybe even if you came from corporate, I guess those could be in that realm too. You have money, but you're like coming in to like build another business or like grow this part. You really have to ask yourself, like, how do you want to structure it? Because I think a lot of times you come in and you see all the upside and you don't understand the grass, number one, isn't always greener, but also like every new business has its own set of things that you need to learn and know. If you don't learn and know those things, then you're like, okay, well, you're not really giving yourself the best shot to get the best outcome, because when you run into issues and problems, you're going to blame sources that may not be directly correlated to the initial route. So let me give you a perfect example, because that was a little confusing. Let's say you're coming in from running a retail shop where you sell clothes, right? And you think that clients are, they come in, you have this whole routine of like, and you have a client demographic and behavior in your mind, meaning when these people come in to buy clothes, here are the type of things they do, this is what they say, this is how they carry themselves, this is how much money they typically have. Now, you may see that demographic, hey, 30 to 60-year-olds, and in your mind, you're like, oh, well, I'm serving, mortgage protection clients or IUL clients. They're exactly the same. So in your mind, because of the only thing you have to base off is our previous experiences, you think that that's how they're supposed to act. This is why you'll hear people say, I'd rather have an agent or a person who has zero experience come in on my team and have work ethic than have the person who has all the work ethic, but they also have years of experience, because you have to unteach their previous behaviors. And if those behaviors do not align with your organization, that creates struggle. Now, you as the agent or the person coming in need to know what environment you're going into, right? So when I talk about entering the industry, that's how I would think through it, okay? So I wanted to briefly talk about that. If that doesn't make sense, I can elaborate on another video. What would I sell? For whoever said this, I have tons of videos on my page, but I'll go into what I would personally do. So, and I think I still need to make that video of like how I would build my agency. I think that would be pretty cool. And I kind of want to walk through it with you guys, because I would just be doing it off from scratch here. So what would I sell? I'll be honest. I would bring people in and have them sell better in life insurance. And then I would train them to sell mortgage protection. I would educate them weekly on IULs and annuities. I would pay somebody to come in and educate my team on IULs and annuities. and I would pay somebody to be on Zoom with my team. That's kind of how I would do it. But if I was an agent, I would start with veteran life insurance, and then I would go into mortgage protection. I wouldn't stay with veteran life insurance forever because although you make more money, much higher premiums, that demographic is still that demographic, meaning they're still window shopping. They're looking for best rates. We get a lot of people, even through ads and just through the communication that we have, that genuinely are just trying to find better rates. Like they don't have satisfaction. They always think like that age range, they think that the grass is always green. Oh, I can go get, if I can save $30, I do it. $50, 100. It's like, so when you deal with mortgage protection clients, because they're already locked into a loan, in their mind, they see things as long term, right? If you're 50, like you're not going to cancel your insurance policy in the first few years. Like maybe if you cancel it down the line, but even then, you're like, okay, I got this. Like I saved $30, but it's like go through and do all, like, hop on a call. Like they think through it. These people, they're just like, yo, if I can save $30, give me a quote, like sign me up. You know what I mean? And it's just a lot of, hey, I can save you $20. So that's why you see a lot of chargebacks just in general. Now, there's obviously significantly more in final expense, but also final expense is a little bread and butter to start people. But me personally, if I was getting in, I would do veterans because, and here's why. Because I know I can have my agents or myself call all through the day and get pickups and conversations. And I need that early on for reps. Now, I would put like 15, 20,000 in their pocket and immediately have them reinvest into training and learning how to do mortgage. The interesting thing is like when you think about life insurance, I never had this perspective because, side note, I was always playing football. So just so you guys are clear on how I was breaking my money down. When I first started and I was making 15,000 in my first few months because I thought I was working full time, but I was really working like part time. I had like no money at the end of every month because 15,000 when it was issue paid was like $9,000, $8,000, $9,000, something like that, maybe 10. I would go and I was spending like $700 a week on leads, maybe $1,000 a week on leads, which was way more than I should have because I obviously wasn't working my leads hard enough. So that's $4,000 right there. Let's just call it. If I'm bringing in 8 or 9, that's half of that. I didn't pay myself a salary. I was just zelling myself. It was just like bad, bro. It was so bad. I was like zelling myself when I needed money. I didn't have like a business set up. And yeah, it was just all going like into my checkings and I was just like swiping. I had one credit card. I was like paying down debt. And I say all that to say like I had no game plan and I was paying for training. So like I actually was low key in the red when I like broke it down. I was like, all right, I'm not really. So that was also part of the reason why I went harder and like was like, all right, if I can spend a little bit more and make 30, 35, 40K a month. And if like 23 to whatever hits my account, like I'm good. And if I spend, let's say, I think I was spending like $8,000 on leads, then it's like, okay, cool, 8, 20. And then I would go ahead and spend the rest of it. That was fine with me. But I say all that to say how I would get in is I would do veterans because I know I could talk to more people throughout the day to get the reps. And then immediately after that first month, like when I was able to put 5 to 10,000 in my bank account, I would do that. Another thing I would do, and it's just, I just love talking about this because like, I love talking through like what agents can do that like I'm doing now from a business perspective that would just crush. Like so many agents I know do not track any other numbers. They don't track their sales. They don't track their presentations. They don't track any of that. But they also don't track their income. They're not like, hey, look, like I'm spending this much on leads. I just read a book. It's called Profit First, Fire book. And it talks about breaking your payments into buckets and creating like extra accounts. The way I look at it is like, okay, you've got this account, this account, this account, this account, this account. So I would take a portion and put it towards leads. I'd have a lead account. I'd have a reinvesting account. So like, how much am I going to put towards myself? And then I'd have a like paying myself account, and I'd find a salary that makes sense and pay myself that. I know that was kind of off the rails a little bit, but the reason why I'm saying that with veterans is I would get as much money as I can up front in the first few months. And then I would reinvest into either, if I don't have anybody in my group that knows how to do mortgage protection, I would go pay somebody. Like, dude, I will pay you to just show me how to sell this. Please. I'll meet with you once a week or once a day. If you want to speed it up, once a day. Like, dude, I'll pay you $150 an hour, $200 an hour. Just meet with me, please. Like, I will send you this. Like, and just sell one more policy a day or something. Meet with them on the weekend or throughout the week, and I would just be like, dude, I need to learn everything. Let's script train. Like, people don't think like that. Like, you can easily go find the best agent, figure out how to contact them, and be like, dude, I will pay you money. Like, just tell me how much you have to Zelle or whatever. I'll pay you the money to show me how to sell this. And then what I would do is then I would switch from veterans, or I'd maybe do veterans, and then buy supplement with some mortgage. Boom. And then what I would do is I would transition over to mortgage. And then I would start building my team like that. And I would start bringing in agents like that, because mortgage protection is a much more effective way, not necessarily to scale, but to get your time back. If you don't care about that and you're like single and you're just young, it's like, dude, go crazy, go veterans all the way. How would I choose an IMO? So, this ties in the first thing I said. So those buckets, no experience at all, right? I'll teach you everything. Experience in sales, but not specifically life insurance sales or selling this way. For example, experience in life insurance space, and I'm used to selling leads, and now I'm doing friends and family, or friends and family, now I'm doing leads. And then I run a business. In my opinion, what I've noticed is that a lot of companies have like a flavor. Okay. So I'm not going to name drop anybody, because I want you to do your own research also at the same time. But here's how I look at it. When you're interviewing whatever company you might want to work with, you should ask them a few questions. What's your take home? Can I see your take home? I just want to know, like, can I see your take home? Now, do not do that if you have no sales experience. Don't do that. Don't be like, yo, I want to see how much you make. You have no room to talk, right? The only way I would do that is if you're a business owner. Like, hey, look, I just want to see your numbers so I can figure out like if the organization I'm coming into is profitable, because I've heard a lot of things. If you're a business owner and they can't give you that, and like you are like have a good business, but you also should be able to provide them like, okay, dude, this is how much money I'm making. Like, if I come over here and I add this to my portfolio, or however you want to look at it, is this going to be more beneficial for me? Right? Now, on the other end, those heads are broken down. You need to find IMOs based on those heads and figure out what you want to do. There are younger IMOs that have a lot of young people, and like they're just absolute savages. If you're young and you like don't mind getting up early, and like you could work your tail off for 10 to 12 hours for the first year, like, dude, yeah, go do that. Like, go to those companies. If you are more entrepreneur based, but you still want to work hard, there are companies that fit with that, right? And then if you are like a business minded person, you do that. I'll give you some examples. You want to make the most amount of money, you're going to go with the hyper aggressive sales. Go find the IMO that makes the most money. If you want to make the most money, go find the IMO to make the most money. Simple. If you want to grow something that you can sell and leverage, go find a company that has not sold. Okay. And if you kind of want a combination of both, you need to go find a company that hasn't sold, but also works leads. That's the easiest thing I can say. A lot of the companies that haven't sold but plan on selling don't always work leads, and they struggle. So you need to figure out what that's going to be for you. All right. Hopefully that makes sense. Once again, my name is Trey. I'm the owner of Agent Lead Lab. And thank you for watching today. If you're an individual agent looking to buy leads, go to leadlabcrm.com. If you are an agency owner looking for an in-house system in a streamlined way to continue to grow, what you need to do is focus in on finding a company that you can partner with, you can grow with. If you think that is us, go to agentleadlab.com, book an Apex strategy call. I'm letting you know right now, The packages, when you get there, you can't come in and do this anyway. So it doesn't matter, but I'm gonna just give it to you for forward thinking. You have to buy leads first. You then become a partner when you start bringing business and we start making each other money. It's like dating, engagement, marriage, right? And then you move into hiring, and hiring us ranges anywhere between 3,500 to 10 grand a month, depending on the size of your team and what you need us to do. And that's all customizable, but you can't jump right into that. So if you book the call, we'll go over an outline, but like just be ready to buy leads. If you're not, go to the website. It's Lead Lab CRM. And if you want to watch the free content, keep watching the free content. That's why it's here. Anyways, as always, I'll see you guys next time. So have a great day. Peace.